Thanks very much. I'm just going to try and share the correct screen and try and be looking in the right direction. Okay, hopefully you're able to see my presentation and not the Zoom screen. Is that looking okay? Great, good. Brilliant, thank you. So I'm Guy Schofield. I'm a freelance digital artist and senior lecturer in TFTI. And I'm going to talk very briefly about kind of ongoing work in immersive experiences, sort of in the broadest sense, but often working with museums and galleries. So I originally trained as an artist back in about 20 years ago in Cumbria. Since then I've worked as a games artist doing environment art. I've worked as an editor, I've worked as an animator and a sound designer in various contexts, often with cultural organisations. And for about the last 12 years, I've worked in universities, mainly doing research around immersive technologies in the broadest sense. So using immersive technologies and often using them in quite unusual ways. And a lot of my research has involved galleries and museums and creative venues in various ways as well. So either trying to research subjects that are of interest to those venues, or using those venues as a platform for engaging with the public more generally. I've also, in parallel to that, I worked as a freelancer with museums and galleries, mostly in the north of England, since about 2001, which I only really worked out a few weeks ago, how long ago that was. And a lot of that work has been really kind of heavily participatory. So a lot of the work that I've done is with educational and outreach arms of museums and galleries, often on projects that have involved collaboratively building things. And often these have been quite elaborate bits of technology of various kinds. So, for example, the Time Telescope, the image that you can see there, was built by myself and a group of young people and allows people to look back in time across the Tyne Valley and see Gateshead and Newcastle at various periods in history. So as an academic, a lot of my research has come out of that experience, especially in the way that museums actually function on a day-to-day basis. I'm really interested in building things for museums that are kind of robust enough to stand up to museum visitors, for instance. The other half of my practice, kind of practice as a freelancer really, but also as an academic, is a bit more experimental. And I've, again, for about 20 years, I've worked in kind of artistic contexts across lots of different media. So I've made kinetic sculptures, I make interactive things, I've made planetarium shows, video games, animatronics, all kinds of things, mainly exploring the edges of those media in various ways. And what I'm doing at the moment really is kind of following the pandemic and following a period like a lot of academics and not being able to do any research at all for a few years. I'm really interested in reconnecting with the idea of using immersive media to work with museum spaces and collections in unusual ways. So I'm currently kind of re-engaging with the nuts and bolts of this. I'm very much a researcher by creative practice, and I'm really interested in building things that actually work sort of in the wild, as they say. And I'm really interested in designing things that actually allow members of the public to really get involved with the themes that the researchers or the museums or the galleries are interested in. And that's me, really. Thanks very much.